is Sandy Eimers from Balance Yoga Lounge in Ankeny, and thank you so much for joining us for yoga in the park this morning. It was a perfect day and a perfect crowd. Namaste. Let's make sure that we are seated comfortably with our sit bones well connected to this beautiful piece of earth here this morning. Drawing the spine straight and tall and feeling the back of the neck long and relaxed. Let's just spend a few breaths taking in the beautiful surroundings about us. All kinds of beautiful blue sky and grass and trees. And if it feels comfortable, you can say good morning to your neighbor. Just getting comfortable with everything around us that's outside of us, first of all. Yoga practice is about turning inward, so for the next 60 minutes, we're going to spend a little more time looking inside rather than outside. So with our sit bones still firmly grounded, let's relax, just close our eyes and breathe. Taking in the feeling of the air brushing across your skin, the sounds of people enjoying life. Feeling the breath come into a calming place, even and deep, without managing or forcing the breath. Just let it flow easily. Let's take our fingertips and bring the middle fingers together, and we're going to rest our hands spread across the belly so that the middle fingers are just touching together as your fingertips rest to your belly. With your next inhale, feel the middle fingers gently pull apart as the belly expands and rounds. With the exhale, the fingers gently float back together, and just start following the pattern of your breath. Now let's bring our open palms up to the rib cage. Plant the heels of your hands firmly into the rib cage, and now as you breathe, focus into the center spaces of your chest, feeling the rib cage expand with each inhale. Noticing a change in the flow of the breath as it fills the midsection of the torso. Finally, we'll take one palm and just place it to the top in the center of your chest. And we're going to be a little more careful with this breath because a shallow, quick breath actually can perpetuate anxiety, and that's certainly not what we came here to do this morning. So we'll limit our test here to just 3 breaths. As you inhale, feel the chest rise and fall, and you'll notice that it's a very short and abbreviated breath. And now that we've experimented with all 3 levels of the breath, rest your palms to your knees, and let's put all of that together and form a deep, relaxing belly breath. Imagine that you're inhaling to a bucket, filling the bucket from bottom to top, and then with each exhale, emptying the bucket from top to bottom. Breathing through the nostrils, keep the lips gently pressed together and the jaw relaxed. Noticing as you relax and breathe that all this attention inward seems to calm the mind, and all of our to-do lists start to dissolve and fade away to the edges. And that's okay. That's exactly our plan for this morning, to focus inward and just relax and be. Drawing our attention to the spaces of the mind, let's start with a mudra. We're going to bring our pinky fingers and thumbs together, the pads of those fingers together, and then press the heels of your hands together. And we'll take the middle 3 fingers, keeping them long, bring the pads of those fingers together, and create a temple that rests around the pinky fingers and the thumbs. If you hold your hands at eye level with the tip of your thumbs, so you can gaze right past the tip of your thumbs, you'll notice a bright, shining little triangle of light between your fingertips. Soften your gaze and just look directly down the length of your thumbs into that tiny triangle of light, which represents infinity. Looking to infinity within ourselves and relaxing within the breath. take that calming energy and bring it directly into the spaces of your mind by resting the heels of your hands to your third eye space, right between the eyebrows. Feel the breath traveling deep to the belly, rounding and expanding. Shoulders relaxed and spine straight and tall. Body and mind now prepared for work. Rest your hands forward onto your sticky mat and roll through your knees as you uncross your ankles and come to a hands and knees posture. Each and every time we come to hands and knees, we want to make sure that our fingertips are spread nice and wide to provide a stable and broad foundation for the weight of the body. Your index and middle fingers are pointing directly to the front spaces of your mat. And let's step our knees back one step for each knee so that the torso can rest long on each side. The elbow joints are soft and our gaze is directly down toward the fingertips. Exhaling, round and lift the center of the back and release the crown of the head down into gravity for a deep cat stretch. Inhale to neutralize the spine and soften the shoulders back and down toward the sit bones. Finally finishing in cow with the sit bones rolled up toward the sky. Exhale cat, inhale cow, just loosening and saying good morning to the spine. Our goal is to try to have all of our movements flow with the breath. But of course, in each and every moment, we're just giving the best effort that we can without judgment. With each inhale and exhale, the spine loosens, and we imagine white spaces being created between each of the vertebrae along the length of the spine. Enjoying a relaxing inhale back to a neutral spine. Let's continue with spinal balance. Activate the muscles of the core and draw one hand forward, lifting it just to a height that's parallel to the spine. Keeping core strength intact and your weight evenly distributed between the remaining hand and knee, push back through your opposite leg. Again, lifting just to torso height, finding length and stability. And if you're looking for extra challenge this morning, you can pull your extended arm and leg away from the midline and then breathe it back into alignment. Releasing back to hands and knees. Let's try that exercise on the other side. First, activating core strength before lengthening the arm, and then pushing through the opposite heel to lift to torso height. Activating the glutes and the abdominal muscles to support. Resting here peacefully within the breath or sliding away from the midline and testing our core strength. Returning to hands and knees, let's take that posture back and forth from side to side. First lengthening and either resting in the breath or sliding away from neutral. Returning to hands and knees, keeping the core strong. Repeat to the other side. Movement flowing from the breath. Visualize yourself a picture of perfect balance and stability. And returning to hands and knees. We prepare the body for a little more vigorous activity. Let's roll the toes under. Lift the sit bone and the knees away from the earth and draw your tailbone tall and back. Stretching the torso long. Pulling back into downward facing dog. Feet and hands firmly planted. Draw the tummy button up toward the spine. You can feel the warmth of the sun on your body here. Just relax and breathe. Shake your head no, nod your head yes. Taking the time to release all tension and stress from the neck and shoulders. With your next inhale, let's roll the heels away from the earth and balance into the toes, lifting your tailbone as high as possible. And then exhale to roll through the bottoms of the feet and press your heels firmly earthbound. Moving with the breath, roll through the bottoms of the feet. And finally pressing the heels downward into the earth. Rest and regroup. This is an excellent time to check in with your body and just notice how different areas are feeling in this moment. You might encounter stress or tension at the shoulders or the hips, possibly the lower back. Draw your next inhale directly to those spaces and give them permission to surrender. With your next inhale, let's walk the feet forward to the hands. And with the weight of the body firmly resting into the feet, draw your palms to your shins and stretch the crown of your head straight forward with the torso resting parallel to the earth. Do keep the knee joints soft. This is a half lift, stretching out the muscles of the lower back. Draw your shoulders back toward the sit bones to keep the back of the neck long. Exhale to a full forward bend, letting the weight of the shoulders, neck, and head drape down into gravity. You can feel the tension gaining in the back of the legs as the calves and the hamstrings lengthen. Remind the tummy to pull up toward the spine. And roll the energy of the inner thighs inward so that the sit bones can lift higher and spread open. Inhaling deep to the belly, let's reverse swan dive, soften the knees, and carefully come all the way upright. Lift those fingertips straight up into infinity, into the sky, and you can let your gaze travel upward as well. Softening the shoulders, this is upward salute. Feel the bottoms of your feet firmly grounded into the earth. Chest stretching open and tall. With your next exhale, let's release the hands into gravity. Slowly bend the knees and draw the tailbone back into chair. The weight is resting heavily into the heels, and our shoulders are soft and relaxed. If you feel fatigued in chair pose, you always have the option of dropping the heels of your hands to the front of your thighs so you can use the strength of your arms to keep white space between each of the vertebrae of the spine. Inhale back to upward salute. Exhale to chair. We'll alternate between these two poses with the breath. Take your time. Everyone is listening to the natural rhythm of the breath, so it's not necessary that we move together. Notice what sensations arise within the body with the breath and your movement. Just relax and enjoy. Keep the attention of your mind resting into the bottoms of the feet, feeling a strong connection with the earth. With this next exhale to chair, let's sustain the posture, softening and checking in with the body once again. Before drawing the thumbs into the heart, let's take the right elbow and drop it to the left knee, pointing our fingertips toward the left, gazing into the sun, aligning the elbows one over the other, same with shoulders. See if you can keep the neck soft and long and the weight resting heavily into your heels. This is twisting chair. After just a few breaths, the quadriceps start to talk to you. See if you can quiet their chatter with deep breath. With your next inhale, slowly push through the bottoms of the feet and straighten the legs, drawing your thumbs back to your heart. Inhale, upward salute. Exhale, chair. We'll loosen things up just a bit by coming back to chair and upward salute. Body stretching long with the inhale. Energy pushing down with chair. Exhale to chair and sustain the posture. Finding stability here, let's draw the thumbs into the heart. And this time we'll drop the left elbow to the right knee. Aligning the shoulders and the elbows. Visualizing a long spine with white space between each vertebrae. Supporting with core strength. Feeling your heels push solidly into the earth. And there's that chatter again from the quadriceps. We turn to the breath, we breathe, we smile. And finally, push through the bottoms of the feet to straighten the legs and draw the thumbs to the heart. Inhaling to upward salute. Exhale to mountain. Hands resting at your sides. Let's connect with the bottoms of the feet, feeling all 10 toes pressing downward. Go ahead and wiggle your toes and press them firmly downward. Soften the knees. Activate the core to keep the spine tall and straight. And if you're having trouble creating a sensation of the chest opening, roll your palms out toward either side. Imagine a string tied through the crown of the head that's drawing you straight up into infinity. And finally, exhale and soften all the edges. Resting your hands to your hips, we're going to take the weight of our upper body and roll it into the toes. Just lean forward until you feel your toes gripping. And then lean back so that you feel heaviness in the heels and a lightness in the toes. We're just going to play with that sensation, leaning forward and then back until we can find ourselves resting in what feels like for our body perfect center and perfect upright. And mark that sensation so that you can come back to it. We'll do the same, leaning from the right foot to the left foot. Feeling your weight shift from one side to the other, feeling heaviness in both directions. And slowly and consciously coming to rest with our weight evenly distributed between left and right foot. Hopefully we're marking a sensation of perfect upright posture here. Go ahead and let your hands rest back to your sides and just enjoy. Inhale slowly, embracing this beautiful day. We'll bring the palms together. You can lace some fingertips if that provides stability. And we're going to exhale to standing back bend. Let your fingertips slide straight back and the chest and heart center open as you keep the hips in vertical alignment with the heels. Do soften the shoulders and just let your gaze drift upward. If this version of a standing back bend feels like it creates a lot of pressure in your lower back, you always have the option of bringing your hands back to your hips. And if you're feeling unnecessary pressure in the neck, drop the chin to the chest, because our goal is to feel an expansive opening at the chest between the shoulders. So whatever adjustments you need to make to create that sensation, that's the perfect variation of that pose for your body in this moment. Enjoy a deep expanding breath. Don't forget about our bucket breath, belly expanding, rib cage lifting, filling the lungs to capacity. Exhale slowly back to mountain. Let's take a step forward with the right foot and a step back with the left so that we can turn toward the morning sun. And expand your arms at shoulder height. We're going to drop our tailbone down, bending at the knees. And for just a moment, I'd like you to gaze past each knee to make sure that your toes are in alignment with the kneecaps. Inhale the legs straight. Exhale to bend. And just imagine that your spine is sliding down a vertical wall just behind you as you breathe, lower, and lift. With your next exhale, we're going to bend the knees deeply and just sort of hang out here for a few breaths. We're going to think about some deep thoughts here for a moment. With your left fingertips, reach back and let your weight slide heavily into the left foot, reaching toward the left as far as you can with the knees deeply bent. We're going to call this direction the past, and we're reaching back into the past, exploring all the things that have already happened in our lives. You can feel some tension starting to build here. Let's slide back to neutral, weight evenly distributed between both legs. And this time we'll stretch into the future. We'll reach to the right. Slide your weight heavily into the right foot, reaching, wondering, identifying expectations that you might have for events that have yet to happen. And now connecting back with the breath, let's start flowing back to mid-center and all the way to the past, reaching left. Inhale back to neutral. Exhale right. Grabbing onto those expectations. Alternating from side to side, now following the natural flow of your breath. Shoulders are relaxed and soft. The spine is upright and tall. And our thoughts are deep within. And we notice, after several breaths, that there are definitely some struggles happening as we reach into the past and stretch forward into the future. And all of a sudden the realization hits us that it's really easiest in the middle. You can come back and rest here in the middle. Weight evenly distributed between left and right foot. This is the present moment. This is where we all live. This is our point of power. We rest here, we feel the power of the present moment. With your next inhale, straighten the legs and lift your arms skyward. This is a wide leg upward salute. With your next exhale, circle your hands all the way down to the earth. If you can, touch the earth. And then inhale, stretching the fingertips back skyward. As you breathe, see if you can connect earth and sky. Stay with the sensation of deep breath. And as you breathe and move, feel the power of the present moment. These are sunflowers. Feet firmly rooted to the earth. The breath grounded and solid. With your next inhale, spread your arms wide in 5-point star. Fan out those fingertips. Stretch them wide. And just take in this moment with another deep cleansing breath. Exhaling, cartwheel your fingertips forward and bend the forward knee. Rest your hands to either side of the forward leg. We'll have everyone turn back toward the front so you can see easily. Just framing the forward foot with a hand on either side. The forward knee is deeply bent. Plant your fingertips to the earth and we'll step the forward foot back, exhaling to downward facing dog. Revisiting this pose and noticing that it feels different this time, more comfortable. The body is more relaxed and at ease. Inhale one leg straight up toward the sky. And then exhale that foot all the way back down to the earth. Inhaling the opposite leg. Exhaling back to dog. Alternating with the breath. Breathing and lifting. And the next time that you have one heel lifted up toward infinity, let's bend the knee of the raised leg and draw it all the way forward to the heart center, where we can place the lower leg down just behind our hands, moving into pigeon. We'll push the extended leg straight back and keep the forward leg bent so that your heel of your forward leg rests just at the hip of the opposite side. You can use your hands on either side for balance as you pull the chest forward and upright. You can use your back leg, fanning out the top of your foot and your toes to press them down into the warm earth, coaxing that forward hip to open. If you're feeling comfortable here, you can let your pigeon take flight. Perhaps you'd like to add a chest opening stretch by bringing the palms together. And with your next exhale, let's begin lowering the torso forward. Hopefully your nose comes close enough to the grass that you can take in a nice deep inhale of fresh grass. Even as the torso lowers forward, keep in mind that we're working to draw the heart center forward. The neck is soft and relaxed. And if it feels comfortable, you can lengthen your arms all the way forward and rest your forehead to the earth or to your mat. Just resting here with the breath, enjoying the cool breeze, the sounds of the wind brushing through the leaves, and the rhythm and cadence of your own breath. Inhaling to activate core strength, begin lifting the torso. Once the torso is upright, you can direct your attention to your toes behind you. Roll the toes under and walk knee and toe back toward the heels of the hands. At some point, you'll be able to easily exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale the opposite foot up toward infinity, always finding balance in your three-legged dog before bringing the raised knee into heart center. Place the opposite lower leg behind the heels of the hands and let the hips begin to sink. First, we draw the chest upright so that we can utilize gravity to coax the hip into opening with the weight of the upper body. With each exhale, you might feel the hips sinking, and we're trying to stay conscious of the hips being positioned level and square from the earth. Taking your pigeon in flight, choosing to add a chest opening stretch. Acknowledging that the muscles that surround the hip joints are very large and very strong. It takes a few breaths for the hip to begin opening. Starting the process of lowering the torso forward, resting to forearms, drawing the heart center forward and tucking the belly up near the spine. Coming down to this level, you might even see some insects in the grass. It's kind of a nice experience mixing nature with our practice. Inhaling slowly, walk the fingertips back underneath the shoulders, roll the back toes under and begin walking knee and toe forward toward the heels of the hands. Again, exhaling to downward facing dog. Walk the dog, alternately pushing the heels downward into the soft, warm earth. And finally, hopping or walking the feet forward to the hands. Reverse swan dive, slowly coming up, Inhale, upward salute. Exhale, thumbs to the heart. Let's return to our mudra that we started with, bringing the pinkies and the thumbs together, creating a visual of infinity, resting the temple around our inner selves. And let's bring that little tiny point of light to eye level once again. And just notice what you see through that tiny gleaming triangle, whether it's water, blue sky, beautiful green trees. Rest and breathe in the infinity of yourself. Inhale, raising your infinity up. Exhale to mountain. Let's step the right foot back. And keep your hands to your hips as you still face forward in the beginning of this warrior series. The back heel is the furthest point behind, and your forward toes are pointing directly to the spaces at the front edge of your mat. Let's bend the forward knee and drop the hips. Keeping the feet firmly grounded. It's perfect to start Warrior One with the hands on the hips because it's very easy to notice if the back hip starts to drift out of alignment. Work on pulling that right hip forward, drawing the left hip back to remain square. With the foundation of our pose in place, let's bring thumbs to the heart. Visualize the heart center lifting upward. And if you prefer, you can lengthen your arms, but it's certainly not necessary. And if at any point in time you feel that you're losing the foundation of your pose, the best thing you can do to regain stability is to bring the thumbs back to the heart. Keep the glutes active. Feel the strength and power of Warrior One. Progressing to Warrior Two, we'll level out the arms at shoulder height and take a look to the right. Drop the tailbone. Taking just a moment, gaze past your forward knee to make sure that we've maintained alignment. And then take your gaze straight out to the side. Stretching the fingertips away from heart center. The weight of the body is evenly distributed between the forward and back foot. Let's gaze toward our forward fingertips and roll the palm upward. Bring your index finger and thumb together, keeping the remaining 3 fingertips just resting softly, palm open toward infinity. This is the mudra for sun. We hold the sun in our forward hand. Now let's gaze toward our back hand. Roll the palm upward and let's bring the pinky finger and thumb together with the middle 3 fingers resting in extension. This is the mudra for moon. As the tailbone sinks, see if you can stretch the sun and moon far away from each other. They are polar opposites. Inhaling, let your sun rise and your moon fall. You can relax your hands to softly cupped palms. This is a reverse warrior. The tailbone is sinking and the forward arm is stretching upward. The back hand is just resting into gravity, and we're very aware of deep tension in the inner thigh of our forward leg. With our next inhale, let's level out the arms at shoulder height and straighten the forward knee. We're going to keep dropping straight down into triangle, lifting the back hip, softening the forward hip down, stretching the arms away from the center, and feeling a sensation of the torso lengthening evenly on both sides. With your next inhale, draw the belly in toward the spine to activate core strength. And we're going to cartwheel the arms as we drop our gaze down toward the forward leg, and then right on over to the opposite side in reverse twisting triangle. Stacking the shoulders, softening the neck, pushing firmly through the bottoms of the feet into the earth. Exhale your gaze down towards your forward foot and frame the forward foot with a hand on either side. Your hands can rest to the earth or they can be supportive on either side of your forward leg. Again, draw the heart center forward and roll the weight of your body into the big toe side of your forward foot. This is pyramid. The neck and head are neutrally in alignment with the spine, so your gaze is softly downward. Visualizing alignment in the hips, feeling some deep stretching in the hamstrings. Soften the forward knee and step the back foot all the way forward. And we'll reverse our stance. Back heel furthest point behind. Forward toes pointing to the straight forward edge of your mat. With the forward knee softly bent, walk your fingertips up the forward leg so that the torso is back upright. Let's start again with hands to the hips, bending the forward knee deeply, dropping the tailbone, pulling the hip from the back leg forward to align. Drawing thumbs to the heart. This is warrior one. We're building the foundation first. And if you find stability here, you have the option of lengthening the arms. There's a great deal of yin and yang, opposite energy in the warrior series. Everything from the tummy on down is pushing downward, making a firm and solid connection with the earth. Everything from the tummy up toward the fingertips is lifting against gravity skyward. Exhale, making a smooth transition to warrior two. Palms are facing downward at this point, and we're very much concerned about some tension at the inner thigh of the forward leg, a deep bending of the forward knee. The heart center is lifted proudly. Let's again gaze toward our forward fingertips and recreate the mudra for sun. Index finger and thumb gently forming a circle of energy. Gazing back at your back palm. Mudra for moon. The pads of the pinky finger and thumb coming together. Both palms are upward and open. Consciously soften the shoulders and then stretch the sun and the moon a great distance from each other. Breathe into the energy of warrior two. With each exhale, feel the tailbone sinking and sinking. Connecting to the line of energy between the sun and moon. Watch your sun rise and your moon fall. Now softening the hands, bring your attention to the shoulders. Energy pushing in opposite directions. Now becoming aware of the sounds of nature, all the beautiful breeze moving through the leaves on the trees. With one complete breath, we make the transition to triangle, cartwheeling the arms and straightening the forward leg as the torso releases downward, tightening the glutes to flatten our pose. As we rest and breathe in triangle, both sides of the torso long, we start to experience a sensation of being pressed between two panes of glass. Soften the shoulders down toward the sit bones. Draw your next inhale to the belly to activate core strength, and cartwheel the arms and your gaze downward, moving through reverse twisting triangle, keeping the spine long so that rotation can occur evenly throughout the length of the spine. Exhale your gaze downward, resting a hand to either side of the forward foot, looking for stability here as you press through the bottoms of the feet in pyramid, hands pressed to the earth or resting on either side of the forward leg. consciously drawing the heart center forward and engaging the tummy button back toward the spine. If your hands aren't already resting to the mat, soften the forward knee and rest the hands to either side. Let's step the back foot forward to the hands and the opposite foot and rest for just a few moments in a deep forward bend. Rolling the energy of the upper thighs inward so that the sit bones lift and spread. And noticing the heaviness of the shoulders, neck, and head with each exhale. Coming back to upright through ragdoll pose, we'll keep our firm connection with the earth and begin stacking the vertebrae of the spine one at a time, keeping the chin rolled to the chest, stacking the vertebrae of the spine as if they were a child's building blocks, straight and tall. At some point, you'll feel the shoulders sliding back and down. You can then lift the chin away from the chest to grow the back of the neck long. Let's take a slightly wider stance, bringing your toes out to the edges of your mat with the heels slightly closer together. Inhale the arms all the way up until the palms come together, and then we're going to bring the palms to shoulder height, straight out in front. If it feels good to clasp the fingertips together here, you certainly may, because we're going to take the tailbone straight down to the earth and become seated. Start bending the knees and imagine a wall behind you that the tailbone is just sliding straight down. Keeping core strength active. Just keep going, and everyone's going to have a different speed here. At some point, you might make a little quick exit to the ground. That's okay too. And then you can lengthen your legs straight out in front. Loosen up the ankles and toes, just rolling. Our ankles are sort of underrated. We don't give them a lot of attention, yet they're very, very important to our stability and foundation for standing and sitting and all kinds of physical movement. Let's make sure that our sit bones are well grounded. We like to call this moving the junk around in the trunk. If you just place your fingertips underneath the flesh and pull it straight out to one side and then the other, you'll get a much different sensation of your sit bones grounded to the earth. Does that feel different? Yeah, real different. The more junk you have, the more different it feels. When we push through the bottoms of the feet, there are a couple different ways that we can activate the muscles of the legs. If you point your toes, you're activating the muscles on the top side of the leg. As you push through the heel, you're activating the calves and the hamstrings. But in yoga, if you push through the ball of the foot and spread your toes out, you get activation of the muscles top and bottom. So when we activate the length of the legs, we want to think in terms of pushing through the balls of the feet, and you can see what naturally happens as the toes start to spread apart. So you'll have a small measure of knowing if you're hitting the right spot by how your toes are reacting to the muscle activation. With our sit bones grounded, pushing through the balls of the feet, seated straight and tall with a heart center that is lifted and strong. Let's ground our hands to the earth on either side. Inhale deep to the belly and stretch your arms tall. Imagine as you hinge forward that you're rotating through the hip joints. The torso is just stretching forward. Wherever your hands rest, that's fine. Do keep in mind that we're stretching the heart center forward, keeping the chin at neutral. If you can reach your toes, you can actually use them as a wedge to draw the lower back even longer. And once we have a foundation of visualizing the lower back is long, then we can allow some weight to come into the shoulders, neck, and head. Allow the chin to roll to the chest and the crown of the head to drop. But even as your weight rests forward, do keep the tummy button drawn up near the spine. Inhaling your gaze first upward towards your toes, and start the journey of walking your hands back towards your sit bones. And let's bring one heel into the groin and then the other, so that the bottoms of the feet are resting, a mirror image of each other. You might want to check the ground that you're resting on so you can find kind of a nice flat space here, because we have the option of balancing in this posture, and if your ground underneath is uneven, it might present an extra challenge for you. Bring the heels comfortably close into the groin, and see if you can sit tall and just let your knees relax. Then taking your hands, wrap your fingertips underneath your ankles and your fingertips around the front of your ankles. If you lift your heels away first, you can get a little taste of what balance might feel like in this posture. Plant the bottoms of the feet firmly together and allow the arms to lengthen as you lift the chest tall. See if you can come into balance here. This is a butterfly in flight. You can flap your wings if that gives you a better visual. It's all about keeping the spine straight and tall and the heart center lifted. Now, just for fun, and I expect everyone to fall here or I won't believe that you're trying hard enough, I'd like you to wrap your peace fingers around one big toe and then the other. Cap the big toe with your thumb. And I think a few of you might know where this goes from here, but we're going to start trying to lengthen the legs. You can do them both at the same time or one at a time. And don't worry, this is actually our transition to the ground, so you're going to end up there anyway. So don't get all sensitive about whether you fall or not, because it doesn't really matter. That's where we're headed. Do keep the heart center lifted and the tummy engaged. Then we're going to round the spine and go down. Stretching out on your back. It'd be tough to come to this posture and not just take a moment to enjoy our gaze into infinity here. Let's once again create our mudra. Pinky fingers and thumbs coming together along with the heels of the hands. Rest your middle three fingers, the pads of those fingers together. Gaze past the end of your thumbs, straight out into the universe, into infinity. Notice how the breath really settles here with the spine well supported, the warmth of the earth, and the even greater warmth of the sun. Rest your hands to your sides. Let's draw one heel into the sit bones, raising the knee, and then the other. Bring the knees into heart center and lace your fingertips over the shins so that you can use the strength of your arms to draw the knees close into your center spaces. Perhaps you'll even notice your sit bones stretching away from the earth as the knees come close to the heart. Splaying the knees out toward either side, we're going to repeat our peace fingers wrapped around big toes, capping with the thumbs. Let's push one heel straight up toward the sky. Got a feel for how that looks and feels. Let's bring that heel back into center and push through the opposite heel, lengthening the leg and feeling a lengthening stretch in the arm. Now let's push both heels straight up to infinity. Exhale and let your heels fall apart. This is a reclining straddle stretch. But in this version, we let gravity do the work. The spine is well supported, and the heels are starting to feel heavier. The groin muscles and the inner thighs lengthening. staying in touch with our belly breath, filling the bucket from bottom to top, emptying from top to bottom. Inhale the heels back together. Take your time. And let the knees fall into heart center. Fingertips laced over the shins. This time we'll roll the lower back from side to side, letting the weight of the knees create a lower back massage. Place one foot back down to your mat and cross the opposite ankle over that raised knee. Lift your resting foot away from your mat and draw it into the heart center. You can tuck your fingertips behind the knee of the raised leg or lace them in front of the shin of the raised foot. We're opening up the hip joint once again with that opposite knee angled out toward the side. Surrender to the breath and to gravity. Release your raised foot back down to the earth, and let's switch sides. Ankle over raised knee. Draw the raised knee into heart center, finding a comfortable place to rest your hands. Exhaling to lower raised foot to the earth. Let's bring the bottoms of both feet to the earth. And we're going to let the knees rest over to the left side, keeping the knees bent, resting the knees both one on top of the other to the left side. Then we're going to take our shoulders and hands to the same side, and we're going to press our torso away from the earth so that the torso is now raised. Square your chest with your mat behind you, creating a deep spinal rotation. See if you can roll the chest right down to the earth and rest your cheek to one side. Spread your arms out at shoulder height. And this is just a nice spinal rotation for your body and a hug of appreciation for the earth. As you rest here, feel the heaviness of your body sinking with gravity toward the center of the earth. With your next in-breath, activate core strength. Draw your arms into center and press your chest away from the earth. You're going to come back. Release down to the earth and drop your knees off to the opposite side. Lift the chest. Square the chest. Roll the spine straight down into the earth. You'll create the greatest spinal rotation by taking your gaze away from your knees, but do be respectful of your spine, listening to the messages that your body sends you in the form of discomfort, and choosing a variation that works for your body in this moment. Relaxing and hugging the earth. Walk your fingertips into shoulder height and use your palms to push away from the earth. And we are ready for Shavasana. Rolling onto your back. Lengthen your legs one at a time and draw your heels apart to about mat width. And allow your toes to just relax and splay toward the sides. Arms are fully extended. You can rest them at any space that feels comfortable away from the sides of your body. The ultimate goal in Shavasana is to feel complete and utter release and softness of the muscles of the body. It's almost as if muscle were falling away from bone. Perhaps you can even feel the sensation of the weight of your brain resting at the back of the skull. And if you sense an awareness of anything, please let it be the sounds of nature. Use your senses to just take in this moment. Wiggling fingertips and toes, bringing your awareness back to the present moment. When you're ready, you can roll to one side, drawing your knees and elbows into heart center. Grateful for this time that you have spent within. With a body that is still heavy, lengthen your arms and draw yourself up to a seated posture. And we'll finish once again with our mudra of infinity. Hopefully that's something that you can take home and use it to calm yourself whenever you feel worked up or stressed out over past or future. Let's build it one last time. We all know the drill at this point. And gaze into infinity once again, infinity within the self. And having marked that sensation, let's draw it into our heart. Namaste.